You know that feeling, right? The sugar crash. That sleepy, sluggish slump you get after a really sweet treat. Well, what if I told you that's just the tip of the iceberg? The real story of high blood sugar is so much bigger, and it affects your entire body in ways you might not even realize. So let's get into it and uncover what's really going on when our system is under stress.
And that right there is the key. We're not just talking about being a little tired for an hour. We're talking about a whole cascade of effects that can quietly impact your health for years to come. Honestly, the consequences can be way more serious than most of us think.
So to really understand what goes wrong, we first have to look at how our body's fuel system is supposed to work when it's running perfectly. Think of it like a flawlessly designed city traffic system, where everything just flows.
It's actually a pretty beautiful and simple process when you break it down. You eat something, and your body breaks it down into glucose. You can think of glucose molecules as all the cars entering the city. In response, your pancreas sends out insulin, who's like the master traffic cop for your whole body. Insulin goes around, knocks on your cell's doors, they swing open, and that fuel rushes in to power everything you do. When it works, it's an absolutely flawless system.
But what happens when that system gets totally overwhelmed? Well, that brings us to the real heart of the problem, what I like to call the glucose traffic jam. This is where that smooth flow of traffic grinds to a halt, and things start to get seriously backed up. I mean, just think about it for a second. Picture the worst rush hour traffic you've ever seen, but multiply it by 10. Every single on-ramp is flooded with cars trying to get onto one highway at the same time. What happens to the whole system? That's the exact question we have to ask about our bodies. And this whole situation has a medical name. Hyperglycemia. It's just a fancy way of saying there's way too much glucose, way too many cars stuck driving around in your bloodstream with absolutely nowhere to go. This isn't just a little slowdown, it's a total citywide gridlock. And this slide just perfectly shows the difference. I mean, it's night and day. On the left, you've got our perfect system, traffic flowing smoothly. But on the right, in the traffic jam, a couple of things happen. First, obviously, there are just too many cars on the road. But second, and this is so important, the cells get totally overwhelmed by insulin, our traffic cop constantly knocking on their doors. So what do? They start to ignore him. They stop opening up. This is what's known as insulin resistance, and it's a huge reason the whole pileup happens.
Now, a traffic jam that lasts for days doesn't just make drivers frustrated. It starts to damage the roads themselves, right? Well, in our bodies, this constant glucose pileup does the exact same thing, causing serious, long-term damage to our internal infrastructure.
You know, there's a scientific term for this kind of chronic damage: glucose toxicity. And yeah, it sounds intense because it is intense. It basically means that all that extra sugar floating around in your blood is literally becoming toxic to your body's systems. It's like the entire city is being filled with corrosive exhaust fumes.
And the consequences of that can be pretty serious. This constant state of high alert might be linked to body-wide inflammation. It can put a ton of stress on your most vital organs. Think about your kidneys having to filter all that blood, the tiny vessels in your eyes, your heart, which is like the city's main power plant. Over time, it can even start to impact your nerve function. This is the real hidden price of that constant traffic jam. Okay, so that was the bad news. But here's the really good news. You can absolutely become the city's best traffic engineer. There are real practical things you can do to start clearing those roads and get that traffic flowing smoothly again. It's all about taking back control. So here are some of the best traffic management tools you have. Knowing which foods release sugar slowly versus all at once, that's like managing the highway on-ramps. Getting some physical activity is like opening up brand new lanes because your muscles just suck that glucose right out of the blood for fuel. And managing stress is huge. Why? Because stress hormones like cortisol can actually tell your body to dump more sugar into the blood, adding cars to an already jammed up road. And of course, balanced meals just ensure a steady, manageable flow of traffic from the get-go. And on the flip side, these are the habits that basically guarantee a gridlock. Skipping a meal and then eating a huge one later, that's like closing the highway all morning and then opening the floodgates at noon. Processed foods and sugary drinks are like dumping thousands of cars onto the road all at once. And living a sedentary lifestyle, well, that's like closing down most of the lanes and forcing all that traffic into a tiny bottleneck.
So here's the bottom line. You don't have to completely overhaul the entire city's transportation system overnight. Just think about it for a minute. What is one small thing, one little traffic clearing habit you could start today? Maybe it's just taking a quick walk after dinner, or swapping one soda for a water. Real progress always starts with that one small step.
And of course, please remember that this was created just for educational purposes. It's not a substitute for professional medical advice. You should always talk to a qualified healthcare professional for guidance on your own personal health.